Hi everyone, welcome to the Pineapple Support channel. My name is Ari, or Araneae Mactans. I'm one of the ambassadors and one of the listeners. I am here today to discuss with you guys my relationship with my parents. I'll give you a little bit of a background of the sort of work that I do. I work in the adult industry. I do a lot of filming. I see clients. I'm a dominatrix. And I've done a lot of nude and fetish modelling. So I've been doing this now since I was about 19. I'll leave it there. I don't want to give away my age just yet. So my relationship with my parents, my perception anyway, was that my mother was always very supportive. She was always in my corner. I used to do a lot of sport, so she was very, she always backed me every way she could. She gave me a lot of freedom as a child, so I was able to go out with my friends and go skateboarding or go to the goth clubs. I was a bit of a goth, a rocker when I was, 16, 17, a little bit younger than that as well. And I got into the industry, it sort of progressed from there. I went to rock clubs and I was always dominant. So I went to rock clubs. I used to hang out at Westward Bound all the time. They had fetish nights, so I would go to the fetish nights, and then I got into the lifestyle that way. So yeah, my mother had, in my opinion, I don't think she ever really had a problem with it. I tried to avoid discussing, particulars of what I did with her, just really to protect her sort of image of me, not necessarily because I thought she would disapprove. So she, I guess she always really knew what I was up to, and she was always very, understanding. She was very happy as long as I was happy and safe, and yeah, so that's pretty much it from my understanding of my mother anyway. My father, on the other hand, I feel like he was a little bit disapproving. I say a little bit, if anyone can be a little bit disapproving, that probably wasn't my father. But my father never let me know how he felt. The conversation between he and I was never good. We fought like cat and dog. We were like chalk and cheese. We would always clash. And unlike when my mother and I used to argue, we would fight and it would be this one big yelling match, and then 10 minutes later she'd make me a cuppa. With my dad, there would be bad blood for days, and I wouldn't speak to him for maybe even weeks. But I believe that he was, he always wanted me to do well in life, go to university, get a career, marry well, get into a great house and everything. So when I decided to become my own boss, self-employed, do the modeling and everything, I feel like personally I'd not achieved his high standards, especially of the high standards of my sisters. So I feel like I let him down, and therefore we never really discussed it. And obviously, who really wants to discuss the sort of work that we do with their dad? We never used to go into long conversations about anything, so why would I with my work? So that was my opinion anyway. He never said anything about it, but I do remember one time he was selling his motorbike, and I had asked him once to borrow the motorbike to do a latex shoot, sexy girl on a motorbike in a latex catsuit. So he was fine with that. He said, as long as I get a good couple of shots of the bike, I'm happy. So I was like, fine, Dad, there you go, there's some good shots. And then about a year later, when he wanted to sell the bike, he did say, do you have any of those pictures of you with the bike? Because then I can put that up and that might be a good, eye-catching image. And I was like, okay, Dad, yeah, I see where you're going with that. Pop it up. So, there were little bits like that that gave me the impression that he wasn't not on board. It wasn't what he had envisaged. So a few days ago, I was trying to get on conversation with my mum on Zoom and try and record it and then send that out there. But unfortunately, I love my mum, but she's not up there with the FaceTiming technology. So I asked her a few questions on chat, and I will read out some of the things she said. I said to her, I just really want to understand how you feel about the work that I do, and how you feel about how I got into it, and, you know, about our relationship. And she said, oh, easy. You just evolved from goth to what you do now. Crying smiley face. You know, I said, what do you think about the kink stuff? How do you feel about it? And she was like, well, you know, I was interested in the lifestyle when I was younger. So, you know, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, and I'm happy as long as you're happy. And I was laughing. And I said, does it bother you? Do you worry about my safety? What do you tell people I do? So does it bother you? It doesn't bother me at all, as I have dominant leanings. Do you worry about my safety? She said, I worry about your safety, but knowing you're a black belt and martial artist and wrestler helps. She also said, and I know that you would go to the police if anything happened. I'm always in your corner, and you always tell me where you're going anyway. So, you know, my mum is my little safety thing, and there's nothing I can't tell my mum. So she's, you know, she's very understanding. And I said, what do you tell people I do? So if someone asks about your daughter, or, you know, your son, brother, stepsister, whatever you say to them, she said, I tell people you're a sports trainer stroke model. If it's someone I know, it's easier. And then she says, Dad's attitude was, if you have a good body, why not? I was like, I didn't know Dad ever said that. She said, I thought he told you. And I said, well, what about the people who you don't know? What do you just tell them I do? She said, some people who don't understand or have blinkers on, I tend to glaze the facts a bit. So obviously she's not going to go out there and share that my daughter is a dominatrix worldwide, and, you know, does anyone really need to know that? Is that for my safety, or is that for their safety? You know, if it's someone she knows, family and such, then she'll discuss it with me, or them. Sometimes it's very funny when we go shopping. She knows one of the shopkeepers, one of the sales ladies in a shop, and she's like, oh, this is your middle daughter. And she was like, yeah, the model, and look at her figure. And I'm like, oh God, Mum. My mum is smashing. We'll sit on the bus sometimes together, and I'll say, Mum, I really need a box. And she's like, what kind of box? And I was like, well, it's got to put some of my toys in. And she was like, oh, I know the place we can get one. They're resealable, and you can like airtight them, and they're wipe clean. And I'm like, you're amazing, Mum. You know, how many parents would have those kinds of conversations? And, you know, she'll say, hey, look, this lingerie, I think, well, you know, you could use it for a shoot. So she's really on board with everything that, you know, I do. She said, I'm not embarrassed by it at all. I'm proud you can be what you want to be. And I feel very lucky that I can be who I want to be, and that my mother is very forthcoming, you know, with everything. And I'm very open about what I do to, you know, the rest of the world. So if I'm happy to tell people what I do, then she, you know, it doesn't bother her. And I said, do you have any advice for other parents, or advice for people in the adult industry who want to connect to their family but are a little bit worried? And she said, to the parents or guardians, go and read some BDSM stuff, or go to some munches and stuff. There's nothing happens that you don't want to happen, and perhaps there's more respect in that lifestyle than the vanilla one. And I think she touches on something really important there. It's sort of true. In the adult industry, on set and such, you know, most of the terms are agreed upon. So, you know, and you're free to say yes, no, whatever. It's the very same in the kink industry and in the BDSM lifestyle as well. If you know that you've got code words, you know, red or pineapple is a safe word, and that stops play. So, you know, she's got a really good point there. That was that. And I said, "That's really sweet, Mum, thank you." And she's like, "But I'm not a fan of gore." And I was like, "I don't blame you, Mum." So that was it. Unfortunately, I couldn't reach out to my father. He passed away a few years ago, but knowing that he wasn't disappointed in me is a little bit reassuring to me, you know. And that, you know, that was really sweet of him to say that to Mum, and Mum telling me now, because I always thought that what I chose to do obviously wasn't something he would want to see his little girl do. But I'm a grown woman and I make my own decisions, and he used to help me with some of the accounting anyway, so he, you know, wasn't that torn up about it. But at the moment, Pineapple are offering lots of seminars and things for you to discuss these types of issues with your parents. So I fully suggest having a look around on the Pineapple Support website. Get in touch if you need to talk to someone. And I look forward to coming again and doing another video for you guys. Have a good evening. Bye.